Okay. Okay, y'all, welcome back. This is part 16. 1 6. Um, so where did I leave off last? So my mom had called me and was asking me, hey, who's the guy? And I told him, I said, it's my ex high school boyfriend. And so, my parents were like, well, why didn't you tell us that you were back talking to him? I said, because it's none of y'all's concern. It's my business. And they're like, oh, well, you should have told us, blah, 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 this, that. And I said, I really don't want to talk about this right now. And so they're like, okay, whatever, fine. So I go back in class, and this girl that knows my parents and my cousin, she kept coming over to me. She's like, oh, hey, what's up? How are you doing? And I'm thinking in that moment, I'm like, bitch, I know you're sitting there telling my parents everything. I'm not stupid, and so just not thinking about it, I was just like, you know what? I'm not going to be stressing myself out with this shit. I'm not even about to. So after school, I got in my car, and, just at that time, I was just feeling myself, having a good day, looking cute, looking fine, looking fly for a white girl. And I was just, driving and everything else. So I get to the old part of town where I used to live, and I stopped off. I can't remember why, but I did. And I stopped off at the Dunkin' shop, and I stopped off, got me coffee. I get out of the car, and my phone's going insane. And of course, it's my daughter's dad again. And he's like, I want to see you. I miss you. I love you. I want to get back together with you, blah, 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 blah. And I'm thinking in that moment, I'm like, I just had a long ass school day. I'm tired as fuck. Why is this going down? And it's like, I just cannot believe what I was fucking hearing. And I'm like, am I really hearing this? I'm dead ass tired. I got a headache. I don't feel good. And everything else. And so the thing about it is that in that moment, I was just like, you know what? I'm not about to argue about this. So I told him, I said, just where I'm at, come and fucking meet me. And so I drove to the spot. He was already there. He was basically, waiting on me. And so when I got there, I got out. He comes over to me, and literally, I shit you not, like, literally put me up on the front of my car. And he was like grabbing on me and like, being real possessive. And he's like, you're mine, all mine. You don't belong to like anybody else. You don't talk to like nobody else. Blah 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 blah. And I'm like, great. I'm like, I don't even want to deal with this. And so I drove home. I got out of my scrubs, and I'm sitting there in that moment. I'm sitting there literally fucking thinking, and I'm just like, in the back of my head in that moment, I was just like, what the fuck am I doing? And mind you, at this time, I was only 20 fucking years old. And I'm just like, what the fuck am I doing? What the fuck am I doing? What the fuck am I doing? And there's just, in that moment, it was just a lot of overwhelming emotion. And I just sat in my room for hours. I did homework. I did a little bit of studying and all this and all that. And, so I had finally got a couple of days off school. And I was just enjoying, time to myself, having time to be with myself, just being me. You know, I ain't got no guys bothering me at this point. I ain't got anybody aggravating me and all this and all that. And so after the few days, everything started going back again to being fucking chaotic and idiotic and everything else. And so towards like the start of me going back to school, things kind of went downhill. And what I mean by that is that he kind of convinced me not to return to school. And he was like, I promise you, I'll marry you. We can try again for a baby. You know, I want you to be my wife. I want to have a baby with you. Let's just run off. And I'm looking at him. I'm like, whoa. Wait a minute. Say what? And he's like, I'm serious. Let's just run off. I'm like, oh my God. And he's just like, you know, I love you. You know, I care about you. Blah, 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 blah. This, that. And I'm like, in that moment, I'm just like, I don't know. Like, in that very fucking moment, I'm thinking, in my head, I'm like, why are you doing this to me? Why are you bringing all this up? And it was just chaos. Chaos, in other words. And it's like, I don't know. It was just so overwhelming. And I'm like, is he serious? Is he serious? Is he serious? And he was like, yes, I'm dead ass serious. I want to marry you. Let's run off. Let's basically daggone elope. And I'm like, where is this coming from? And he's like, you know, I've been in love with you for years. You know, you're the only girl I've ever wanted. The only girl I want to marry. The only girl I want to have a baby by. The only girl I want this with. The only girl I want this with. And I'm like, in that moment, I'm like, oy, oy, oy. And, around this time, he was just moving out of the apartment from Addison over to Cheviot. And he was like, oh, well, I got a brand new place. You can come live with me again. We could, you know, just have, like, everything be a fresh start. You know, we can be a family like we've always talked about. You know, you can become my wife, have my kids, you know, be the girl that I basically, you know, come home to, and all this and all that. And I'm like, I said, that's a lot to fucking take on. And he's like, you know, we've talked about this since you was in high school. You know how much I'm madly in love with you. You know how much I've been in love with you, and all this and all that. And I'm asking him, I said, we've only known each other at this point going on 3.5, maybe 4 years. And the thing about it is, at that time, I was just like, not for sure. And this is where Hometown Custom PC 5G 4G starts getting brought up. So about that time, he told me, he said, hey, my friend Heather, the one that I know now, the one that's technically passed away, she has this guy she's been living with. His name is Jamie Weemeyer, aka Hometown Custom PC 5G 4G whatever G. And he's driving her nuts. Heather wants to come over to the house and chill. You know, are you gonna be okay with that? I was like, as long as I'm there, yeah, that's fine. And so I went over to the apartment where he moved in over in Cheviot. And Heather comes over, brings Jamie over. I can't remember much about it, but Heather didn't come over with Jamie at that point because she left him at the house. And Heather was telling us about how annoying he was, how trashy he was, how gross he was, how he was a liar. He was stealing off of people, and he was doing this and doing that. And me and my daughter's dad, we were telling her, like, look, if you don't want this dude around, just kick him out. And so, us not knowing, me and my daughter's dad at that point, us not knowing, Heather got mad one day, and she sat Hometown Custom PC 5G 4G whatever G out on the side of the road in Harrison, in Ohio, when it was snowing, because she got tired of his shit real quick. And around this time, I was living in Cheviot with my daughter's dad. I had requested some time off school, and this is where my buddy Blue, his girl Alicia, I think her name was, and their son, my buddy Hootie, his girlfriend, and Brian comes in. This is a whole different Brian. His girlfriend Carrie comes in. Hootie's fucking girlfriend comes in. I will tell you all about that mess. But, so me and my dude, we was hanging out, and he had happened to mention about this guy named fucking Hootie. And he literally looked like the guy from Hootie and the fucking Blowfish. And he's like, oh, this guy that lives upstairs, he's cool, you know, he wants to come down, we can all drink. And I was like, okay, fine, whatever. And I knew when we started drinking, I knew from that moment, things was about to go downhill. And I knew when we started drinking, my daughter's dad got so fucking possessive, so fucking controlling. And stay tuned for part number fucking 17. Stay tuned. Deuces.